Spider-Man and Dracula go cruising. Some comic book storyline concepts are so crackpot you have to read them. Upon perusing an off-the-wall story, you may be shocked at how well-written the absurd idea turned out to be. Putting Dracula and Spider-Man in the same book in 1974 was a wild idea. Throughout the subsequent 50 years, we've seen some excellent Dracula and superhero crossovers. Battles against Batman, Doctor Strange, and even Thor brought memorable confrontations. Granted, those three heroes as nemesis make sense in the Bronze Age and today. Spider-Man is a wacky character to confront Dracula, but that is what Marvel Comics promised in giant-size Spider-Man issue 1, July 1974. Plot-wise, Len Wein knew the right way to pull this one off. We get a tremendous early 70s-style simple Spider-Man story that makes sense despite the very disparate main characters sharing a lengthy story. Everyone involved with this oversized special edition, including penciler Ross Andrew and inker Don Heck. The story moves briskly and delivers the equivalent of about 2.5 standard comic book issues from the era in one package. We get a very Spider-Man-style setup with Aunt May suffering from a bad flu. Real bad. We're not dealing with a standard strain of the flu. This strain will take Aunt May's life unless she gets a shot from a vaccine created by a skilled scientist who doesn't like to fly. Peter Parker can't wait until the Doctor's transatlantic cruise ship arrives in New York, so he calls in a favor from the Human Torch, still smarting after his bank loan was denied, and borrows a ride on a Fantastic Four superjet. What's the problem? All Spider-Man and Peter Parker have to do is explain nicely to the Doctor that they need that vaccine quickly. It's complicated. Peter Parker's crashing the cruise means he can't be overt. He must sneak around, trying to find the Doctor and doesn't know what he looks like, and it's more challenging since a costume party is going on. Making things further difficult is the arrival of Dracula, who has to kill the Doctor to stop the vaccine from reaching New York because it presents a threat to his plans for vampire world domination. And did we mention a Magia entourage is on the ship, looking for the Doctor because boss Simeon Sims figures he can kidnap the Doctor and the vaccine to blackmail the United States and give him entry and a full pardon for all his past crimes? Spider-Man, Dracula, the mob, and a merry costume party cruise ship, what a mashup. And what a shame no one makes comic books this fun anymore. Modern audiences are more sophisticated in their reading preferences, and the children's market long ago faded away, but would it hurt to write a story this fun these days? Okay, we're not talking about these days. We're talking about a comic book industry that existed 5 decades ago and is long gone. While those days are not coming back, we can revisit them to see what works and what doesn't and why people did what they did back in the day. Is that not what history is about? Comic book publishing houses, like all businesses, exist to make money. Sometimes, releasing a gimmicky product could help with revenue. Comic books, collectors, love issues, and printing a series of giant-sized books were novel ideas in the 1970s. And they grabbed the reader's interest and attention. Yes, there were annual issues connected to monthly titles, and a giant-size issue is no different from an annual. It's a standalone work that is longer than the average comic book and has a higher price tag. Put something special in the marketplace, and people might be willing to pay a little extra. When you see Spider-Man and Dracula on the cover, the damn book is so weird. You have to buy it to see how the confrontation plays out. The Lord of the Vampires debut and the first of Tomb of Dracula in 1972, giving a marvelous successful first entry in the late arrival of horror books to newsstands. He became a novel and intriguing character to appear in a Spider-Man book and made the giant-sized debut worth purchasing. Spoiler alert, Dracula and Spider-Man never face off in the issue. Spider-Man and Dracula are unaware of each other's presence, and the Magia acts as a foil for both. That sounds like a real downer, even though the book is well written. Honestly, Len Wein knew what he was doing. Spider-Man will not drive a stake through Dracula's heart, he's not the killing type. Dracula is, and Dracula is wildly powerful, so it becomes hard to write a confrontation between the two of them. We opted for them not to battle each other and instead share a book and engage in parallel stories. Whether you consider that disappointing or an intelligent approach to writing is a matter of opinion. Likely, many readers were disappointed the battle never took place, but we self-edited the special and there was no one to change his mind about this approach. Today, when we read giant-size Spider-Man #1, we're reading it as a nostalgia collectible and not in the same way someone purchasing the book in 1974 would have felt. Its standalone merits, the disappointing conclusion, and the lack of a confrontation are drawbacks. Still, the overall story is enjoyable and worth the investment. That investment in an original copy was a lot cheaper in 1974 than it is today.